From returning to the octagon after a 3-year hiatus to suddenly wanting to give it all up after one final bout at MSG, here's why UFC champ Jon Bones Jones' retirement might just be a done deal this time around. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of his retirement, let us talk about how this was a long time coming. Now here's the thing, you guys. In February of 2020, in what no one knew was his last bout for the next 3 years, Jones had beaten Dominic Reyes at UFC 247 after 3 rounds of intense back and forth, which made him retain his title record for the 15th time. No one, I repeat, no one is even remotely close to his status as a fighter. And that's exactly why there was a lot of chatter about a potential super fight between Jones and Francis Ngannou. But that was just a pipe dream for the two fighters, since it never took place. Now, according to UFC president Dana White, Jones was not exactly happy with the negotiations of that potential bout with Ngannou. He said that the fighter was looking for Deontay Wilder kind of money, which makes no sense considering how loaded he is already. Of course, Jones didn't exactly hold back either. He denied that he'd made any sort of demands to White, and instead tweeted that he'd make more in his first boxing match than his next upcoming UFC fights combined. Joke's on him though, because even those fights never ended up happening. Because soon after that tweet of his, Jon gave up his UFC light heavyweight title, hoping that the promotion would realize his true value. But even that was not enough for the UFC to bump up his purse a little. Because after receiving the cold shoulder from the promotion, Jon Jones was off for 3 years from the fight scene, and it was only in 2023 that he finally made his comeback. You see, UFC 285 was one for the history books. With Jon Jones going head-to-head with Ciryl Gane after a 3-year hiatus, everyone was anxious to see if Bones would still be in shape. But to everyone's surprise, 2 minutes into the bout, Jones was able to lock Gane in a choke for his first submission win since 2012 and the first stoppage since 2019, and secured the heavyweight champion belt without breaking a sweat. I mean, it definitely helped his case since he moved up to the highest weight class and all. But clocking in a guillotine choke after a 3-year sabbatical proved to everyone that Jones was here to stay. As of 2023, Jon is basically the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, and he also currently holds the record for the most back-to-back light heavyweight title defenses. Also, technically speaking, he has not exactly been outscored, knocked out, or technically been defeated in a fight. His only loss in his career was a disqualification, but aside from that, fighting-wise, his career has been pristine. But here's what's not adding up. If Jon had such a successful comeback, then why on earth is he willing to risk it all and leave? Well, guys, I hate to break it to you, but that's probably because Little Jon is getting kind of old. In fact, in an interview with Fox Sports Australia, this dude went on record to say that his upcoming bout with Stipe Miocic might be his last as a fighter, and who knows what the future holds for him. Plus, it's not like it's the first time he's hinted at retiring after facing Stipe. He's even tweeted about it before. On April 16, 2023, Bones tweeted, "How cool would it be to spend my retirement fight dominating the greatest heavyweight of all time in my home state at Madison Square Garden?" Now, I don't know about you guys, but the fact that he's already teased fans about it tells me that he's actually pretty serious about stepping out of the octagon once and for all. We already know that Dana's refusal to compensate his guys for more has sort of demotivated Jones in the past, but that might just be a small part of the reason why he's not in it for the long run anymore. Also, as far as being old is concerned, then that's probably one of the biggest reasons why Jon thinks it's okay to step down. Because when you look at it this way, he's currently 35 years old. And in fighter years, that is a lot. While speaking to Fox Sports Australia, the champ talked about how the Stipe fight will be plenty for him, and that he feels like he doesn't have much to prove after that. And he's not wrong to think that either, because Jon has been in the MMA scene since 2008, right? So it makes sense that he feels like his career has run its course. After all, when you have been training for a really, really long time and have had a couple of life-threatening injuries along the way, I guess what Jon wants now is a break. And that's exactly what he wants to do after retiring. In fact, it feels like the last 3 years really put things into perspective for him, because all he wants to do now is to be around for his family and for his kids. Seems like his career is ending soon, and surprisingly, he's happy with it too, because the guy is super proud of all that he's accomplished. As far as what the future holds for him, sure, he's hinted at approaching retirement soon, but what if he sticks around for the right fight? I mean, remember the super fight between Francis and him that never ended up happening? Well, John thinks that while going up against Francis might be entertaining, it's not exactly worth retiring. Because here's the thing, the only reason why he was interested in it was because of the payday it would be. He added that such a fight would rake in some serious revenue and would definitely make it worth his while. Plus, since Ngannou's super famous in America, and practically across the whole world too, he's definitely going to attract a lot of fans to tune in. And for Jones, that's enough of a reason to stick around, or even come back. Of course, while we're talking about dream fights, we can't exactly cross out Brock Lesnar's name like that now, can we? Cause look, sure, Jones has his sights set on a Stipe Miocic dream fight. Going up against the Beast Incarnate was not exactly off the table either. While speaking to TSN's Carissa Maxwell, the 35-year-old fighter talked about that while Brock isn't exactly the post-technical guy out there, but fighting him would actually be really cool. Plus, he has also got a huge fan base, so that's always a plus. In fact, John even called his potential bout with Brock a David and Goliath kind of situation too, because that would mean that there's some level of cross-sport promoting, which would definitely benefit both fighters and ultimately their families. Obviously, the fact that John's not actually retired yet still makes it possible for him to go up against big names and get an even bigger purse. But still, people in the combat sports community are already pretty bummed that he won't be there anymore. While talking to MMA Junkie, UFC champ Jamal Hill was really disappointed that Bones might be retiring soon. He says that this means that he would never have a chance to go up against him, but despite that, he does have a lot of respect for him. Because let's be honest, Jones has given us a lot. He's given us some pretty great fights and performances. I mean, that's the kind of impact that he's had on the MMA community. In fact, Hill even remembers his crazy injuries too. From the time his elbow was red from being in an armbar from Vitor to basically breaking his toe in that same fight, Jones has seen some pretty terrible days. Because even if you look at this career so far, he's had like 3 suspensions in his 15-year-long career. And 2 of them were because of extremely boneheaded reasons too. Not only has he been slapped pretty hefty fines, but are we just gonna forget that he was stripped of his title in 2015 and was replaced by Daniel Cormier at UFC 187? Plus, when you factor in his legal troubles and not to mention that whole bit with Dana White over not paying him enough, he's become a pretty polarized figure in the combat sports community. And I guess he's right to hang his gloves for now. Because here's the thing, a fight with Stipe Miocic, that's a huge deal. And that too at MSG? Oh well, there's no stopping the fans then, even though they have asked the heavyweight champ to reconsider his decision. John briefly humored them, saying, okay, I'll just keep fighting. Because let's be honest, he's the youngest champion in UFC history, with his title victory over Mauricio Roa when he was just 23. And not just that, with 27 fight wins. Out of 29 bouts, the former light heavyweight champ has created his own legacy, and it's up to him how he wants to say goodbye to it. So, from wanting to say goodbye to his career at one final bout at MSG to returning to the octagon after a 3-year sabbatical only to quit all over again. That was all on Jon Jones's retirement announcement.